I finally watched Eyes Wide Shut last night. Honestly, I don't know whether to call it a thriller, a dream, or a very long nightmare. That's exactly Kubrick's trick, isn't it? He blurs reality and fantasy until you're never sure which side of the mask you are on. Tom Cruise's performance looked perpetually confused. But maybe that's the point, his character is wandering through the surreal maze of desire and paranoia. Nicole Kidman, though, her monologue about the sailor. That was haunting. That confession sets the tone. It's less about infidelity and more about the fragility of trust. Kubrick uses her words to crack open the marriage, and then the rest of the film becomes a descent into temptation and fear. And those masked parties, so bizarre. I felt like I was intruding on some forbidden ritual. The music made it even more unsettling, like a heartbeat that wouldn't stop. Ligetti's score is deliberately dissonant. It turns the whole sequence into a ritual of power and secrecy. Some critics say it's Kubrick's commentary on class and hidden societies. I just kept thinking, poor guy, he's way out of his depth. But then again, he's also driven by ego. He wants to prove something after his wife's confession. It's not just lust, it's pride, insecurity, and the terror of losing control. That's why the ending feels so ambiguous. Like that final line, though. It's blunt, almost funny, after all that tension. Kubrick loved irony. He leaves us with a word that's both ordinary and loaded with meaning. For me, it's a masterpiece of ambiguity. You don't watch it once, you wrestle with it for years. Story begins as, the streets of New York City in December are cold, blue, and glowing with artificial light, a perfect reflection of the marriage of Dr. Bill Harford and his wife, Alice. They are a couple defined by their beauty and their privilege, yet moving through life in a state of curated sleepwalking. The dream begins to fracture at a lavish Christmas party hosted by the wealthy Victor Ziegler. While Bill is whisked away to tend to an overdosing socialite, Alice is cornered by a silver-tongued Hungarian who questions the stability of her marriage. The real break happens the following night. In a haze of marijuana smoke and simmering resentment, Alice confesses a secret. Years ago, she was prepared to abandon Bill and their daughter for a naval officer she had never even spoken to. This revelation shatters Bill's ego. He realizes he doesn't own his wife's thoughts, and the image of her betrayal becomes a vivid, haunting loop in his mind. Bill wanders into the night, his professional status acting as a passport into the city's underbelly. His journey is a series of, almost, encounters. A flirtation with a prostitute named Domino. An encounter with a group of homophobic thugs. A visit to a costume shop owned by the eccentric Mr. Milich, whose daughter seems trapped in a surreal game of her own. Finally, Bill meets an old friend, Nick Nightingale, a piano player who reveals a secret he shouldn't have. He has been hired to play blindfolded for a mysterious, elite gathering at a private estate in Somerton. Armed with a rented tuxedo, a Venetian, Volto, mask, and a stolen password, Fidelio, Bill infiltrates the mansion. What he finds is a ritualistic nightmare. Masked figures in heavy robes watch as naked women circulate in a choreographed, silent orgy. The atmosphere is thick with incense and the terrifying power of the untouchable elite. Bill is quickly outed as an intruder. In a scene of chilling tension, the Red Cloak leader demands he remove his mask. Just as Bill faces an uncertain, likely fatal fate, a mysterious woman, the same one who warned him to flee earlier, steps forward to redeem him, sacrificing herself to save his life. Bill returns home, but the world has shifted. He finds his mask resting on his pillow next to a sleeping Alice, a silent message that his secret journey was never truly private. He is summoned by Victor Ziegler, who reveals the terrifying reach of the men at the party. Ziegler claims the sacrifice was a staged theatrical performance and that the woman's subsequent death was merely a coincidence of a drug overdose. Whether it was a conspiracy or a cruel prank, the message is clear: Bill is out of his depth. The movie ends not in a dark mansion, but in a brightly lit toy store. Bill and Alice, exhausted and shaken by the ghosts of their desires, confront the reality of their relationship. There is no magical fix for their fractured trust. Alice looks at Bill, the neon Christmas lights reflecting in her eyes, and suggests that they should be grateful they managed to survive their adventures, whether they were real or just a dream. She concludes that there is one thing they need to do as soon as possible to ground themselves back in reality. The final word of the film, and their marriage's new starting point, is a blunt, physical directive: good luck.